That's all.
You guys ready?
$50.
All right, it's a little past 7 o'clock. We're going to start our meeting and we'll welcome you in the audience to our council meeting, the first one of the year. We're happy to see all of you. Welcome, council. We're ready to start our new year. We'll have our pledge of allegiance and an opening ceremony by Councilmember Jackson.
After me, the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, as we come before thee at this time, we're indeed grateful for the opportunity we have to live in this community, and we ask thee to bless all the members of this community, bless the council as we deliberate in behalf of this community. Ask thy spirit to be in attendance with us. We're grateful for the opportunity to serve. We're grateful for our employees. We ask you to bless them with health, protection, and safety. And again, we ask thee to be with us this night, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Matt. Item number 3, we have a new council that we need to have sworn in, and we'll turn that time over to Jennie.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite yourself, Councilmember Jackson, Councilmember Loveland, and Councilmember Weiss. And we'll do Officer Milloway as well. We have a new officer who is being sworn in tonight. So we invite you up front. If you'll raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Jennie Jackson,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of
to the office of City Council
at the Harrisville City Council meeting
at the Harrisville City Council meeting
on the 11th of January,
on the 11th of January,
2022,
2022,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Officer, I think you just signed.
Both copies, and then you can choose a copy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to have that all taken care of. And that's been kind of a concern of mine since last June when I applied, and I know it's Sally too. So I appreciate this. Moving on, our consent items. First of all, approve the minutes from December 14th, 2021 as presented. So everyone had a chance to look at the minutes. Okay, any changes, anything that we need to? All right, if not, I entertain a motion, please.
I move that we make a motion to accept the minutes approved on December 14th, 2021. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the second item. It is my privilege, I guess, to appoint a mayor pro tem every couple of years or whenever I really want to, and I've chosen to do it every couple of years. I've had Councilmember Williamson the first couple of years, and then Councilmember Weiss did it, and now I propose that I have Councilmember Christensen here that will be our mayor pro tem, and if I would like you to all, what would I want to call that? Validate that, or what? No, it's not what I want. Confirm that. Thank you. Confirm that tonight. And so I would need a motion for that, please. You need to discuss.
I'll make a motion that we
I guess.
approve
Okay.
Blair for mayor pro tem.
Okay. Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, Blair. Now you have to get on track. That's your job right here. Okay. The third item we have on our agenda, we have a planning commission that meets once a month or is needed. And we have had some people serve on there, and the terms for that are 5 years. And we have 2 members that want to come back and serve. Is this another 5 years, or is this, okay? So they served their first term of 5 years, and that's Nathan Averill and Brendan Nelson. And I'd like to present their names for another 5 years. And along with that, we have sometimes with COVID and everything going on, we've had some issues where we don't have enough people here. So I've suggested we do an alternate, and we have Brad Elmer in the back who's consented to be an alternate and be here at all the meetings besides. So Brad, you just want to stand up and say hello. So I present his name to you tonight to be an alternate on the planning commission. And is there any discussion or any questions on any of those 3?
Get ID on him.
He came in here first. so
Great
I
choice,
guess.
great choice.
I'm excited about all 3 of them, and if you have no questions about this, I'd like to entertain a motion to reconfirm that.
What do we say?
Move to approve the mayor's appointments to the planning commission.
Okay, I moved that we approve the mayor's appointments to the planning commission.
I'll second
All right, a motion in 2 seconds, so we'll take that. This is a regular motion too. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We appreciate your willingness to serve. You've done a great job in the past, and I'm excited that you're going to be here again, because we have a lot going on in the next few years. So thank you very much. Okay, moving on to our business items. So first up, we have a public hearing, and Harrisville City Council will take comments for or against Harrisville Resolution 22-01. This is a resolution authorizing the surplus of certain real properties owned by the city. So before we open that, I'm gonna have Bill explain what's going on.
Okay, we're gonna pull up on the screen the area for the property that's being surplused. Jennie will highlight that. The parcel there, 11016022. So that's our public works area. The property was donated.
And excuse me, I've been sick. Thanks, Jennie, for turning on my microphone. Now you can hear. But I'm gonna sound like Shrek or something. The parcel was donated to the city. It was supposed to be a park originally, and got used as a public works facility. Now with our property on 750 West, we'll be moving the public works and the city hall over there in the next few years as we reach almost 10,000 people with some of the development that's occurring, and we're also going to reach build out. And we'll need some bigger facilities. So this is going to be turned into the park that it was intended to do, but in order to do that, we're turning it over to the developer who's going to be developing the frontage on Washington Boulevard. And then the park area will be accessed through the whole public works area, so it can line up with the road across the street and off, because that's what UDOT wants for safety. Then that road will be our park access for approximately 11 acres that will constitute the wetlands there, and then some of the uplands that will be converted into the ball fields and soccer fields or whatever it may be, that we're going to be over at 750, which will now be at this park, which is closer to the central of the population. Okay, so we're going to surplus it tonight and then turn it over to the developer, and the developer is going to, you've got a contract on here later where they'll turn around and rededicate that or dedicate a conservation easement back to us for that property. Okay,
Any questions for Bill?
Let's ask the questions after
After?
the public hearing. Okay.
All right, so I need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
I make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience that has any concerns or questions about this to come up to the podium. You have a 3-minute time limit and we'll address you can tell us your concerns and then we'll address those at the end. So now is your chance. And since we don't have a stampede, what would you think? Should we close this?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So moving on to item B, this is a discussion of possible action to adopt Harrisville Resolution 2201, which is a resolution authorizing the surplus of certain properties owned by the city. So Bill,
So, Steve, you had a question.
or it was Ken.
Can
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was just reading the description, and I don't know if the description got fixed, but it said the property was to the
East.
east of Washington Boulevard.
Yes,
Did it get
we
fixed?
had a typo in the
Okay.
original. It's been corrected.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah, we just confused some North Auckland residents. So it was their property, we were surplusing, and then we fixed that. And so that's just the nature of our times.
Transpose the numbers.
Yeah.
So those have been corrected.
That was my only question.
Okay, so this resolution would surplus the property, and then we're gonna go into the next resolution where we sell the property, lease it back, and then have the procedure in there for the rededication of the property back to us once it's developed.
The developers already agreed to.
They're here tonight, and so you can ask them questions.
Thank you.
In fact, wanna-
Sure, Mr. Smith, would you like to come up?
I wasn't able to talk to Mr. Smith because I couldn't talk. And so he talked to Jenny this week, but I wrote everything last week while I was working from home and sent it to Jenny, and then she got it over to Mr. Smoot. And so he can answer your questions.
Thank you.
We've reviewed everything that he had put in the contract and we're comfortable with everything he's written. And it's based on what he wrote, so. We're
Which is
comfortable.
surprising because normally you want to change everything that the lawyer did or have issues, but they've been very easy to work with.
Kind of questions for me, but that's what they said is the intent of the whole matter. So.
That's it.
Have we talked with the family that originally donated it to us? Are they
I
still
don't think we
around?
can find them. I think it was back when Glenn was originally researching this and they couldn't find it, but the research was done and then.
Yeah, that's almost 20 years ago, and so. we
Yeah, I
just-
was here when they did it, and met with them.
Yeah, so I think that their intent will be better, because we're gonna put a sign up that's gonna call it back to that family and everything.
Right, so the plaque that's on the building now will go onto some kind of a marker.
Yes.
That's work, yeah.
And if it doesn't, we'll have to remake it, because that's the intent, so we gotta make sure when they demo those buildings to get those markers off, because I've had that intent, we had a time capsule in another city, in another building. And when they demoed that building, they forgot to get the time capsule, and so we gotta remember that, Max. And so as we're getting closer to that, please help us remember.
I'm sorry.
I have one question. Okay, so we're lining the roads up as far as what UDOT wants. Is that just gonna be a dead end parking area?
That's the intent, that's what the plan shows right now.
Okay, I haven't seen the plans of it, so I just wanted to. read
Yeah, it just goes down to the cul-de-sac in the wet parking part.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
I think we've had these discussions with Mr. Smith for a good 6 months now, right?
Yeah.
And these negotiations have gone back and forth. And we appreciate your willingness to work with the city so much. And we're glad that we could work this out and get our new building at the same time. So I have no other questions. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we adopt Harrisville Resolution 22-01, resolution authorizing the surplus of certain real properties owned by the city.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Okay,
Wait a second, have I done it wrong?
Am I
Okay,
on the right one?
but I need to, during our discussion, I need to bring up something I didn't.
okay,
We mainly just talked about the public works building. You're also surplusing another property.
Oh,
Okay, so this property is.
okay, we got ahead of ourselves.
In the record that we talked about this, when we're surplusing this one, it's not being sold though, right now. This one's being surplused. And then we'll go in and turn it into some residential development, probably 2 lots. And then we'll sell that as the city, and that's gonna help pay for the construction and sale of the public works building. This is where we get the rest of the money to the public works building. The selling these 2 lots.
That's that part of the idea.
so do we need to add that into the motion?
It's already in the resolution.
Oh, so it's in the resolution. Okay, so now we've got that.
No, just, is everybody good with the motions and understanding that it applies to this property?
Do we have any issues with it being the wetlands back there?
Yes, those will be able to be developed. So when we go in there, we'll tell the engineer, put buildable lot area.
The wetlands on this triangle piece.
Yeah, back behind the city shop, pretty marshy.
Oh, up in, yes, that's part of the reason for doing this, is so there's only part of that property that is developable.
Now, we'll be the developer here, so we're gonna have to put in the curb gutter and sidewalk like any other developer. There's this little piece here, which is not being surplused. This, not that one. Sorry.
It's that triangle, isn't it? So
Yes,
that's
it's yeah.
There, that piece is owned by us as well. This is where people come around this corner. Okay, that's the last. This is where it comes around the corner, people kind of speed, and so it will then make that corner, once we have the curb gutter and sidewalk in there, where it kind of maybe softens the traffic a bit. And put some traffic softening measures in there as part of that development, okay?
Part of that will be the fact that we'll kind of widen out that road through there. Because it's actually pretty narrow and needs to be addressed for safety purposes.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any more discussion?
I have a question, because why are we surplusing it? If we are, don't we already own it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm confused on the surplus thing now.
Okay, under state code 1038,
Okay,
before you can sell property, you have to go through this process.
okay,
Because this is what we're doing, and so if Jenny's ever called out on it, or the city is, we have this resolution that we went through this process.
okay. So even though we're retaining ownership, we still have to do this,
Okay,
because we want to sell it down the road.
yes,
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
This one, we don't have anybody interested in it now,
Mhm.
but there might be somebody come along shortly that is, and then we'll bring a purchase contract back to you for that. But what we want to do is bring it back where they're paper lot ready, and the planning commission has approved this subdivision and the improvements. And the reason for doing that is we want it built the way we approve it.
Right.
So we help the residents over there, rather than just selling it off and then the developer gets it and wants to do something different.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, makes sense.
On the public works, when we have somebody there that's already working on a project,
Right,
we like the idea and the park area back there and preserving that open space. And so we had an interest already there ready. We needed to line up UDOT roads in order to make things work. This one is different circumstances.
okay, thank you.
all right. Any more discussion, any more questions? We want to make sure that all those are answered before we move on. So we're talking about, the motion includes the 2 pieces of property for surplus. You good with that? Okay, we have a motion and a second. A roll call vote is required on this one. So Councilmember Leland,
Yes,
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes,
Councilmember Weiss,
Yes,
Councilmember Williamson.
yes,
All right, thank you. Motion carries. All right, item C, This is a discussion of possible action to adopt Harrisville Resolution 22-02. This is a resolution to adopt a purchase, lease, and dedication agreement. Bill.
Okay, so you have this agreement in your packet. So is this the one that I did, or is this the one I told? This has your changes in it? So Jenny, while I was out last week, coordinated with Mr. Snoot and made the changes to my draft. And so let's go over this. Oh, okay. There's the changes. So Jenny made the changes that you see on the screen that are in red, because I just had a blank there because I didn't know who, in what capacities we were selling it to. So this is how it goes. And then scroll down. Oh, it took out the numbering, Jenny. I have these numbered.
Yes, it did.
Okay. So where we say paragraph 3 though.
You have to count.
Do you want to put the numbering back in? I've got it pulled up. I can put the numbering back in now.
Okay. Because the first 2 paragraphs weren't numbered, and then we started numbering where the flags were.
Premises
So that wasn't numbered.
versus premises.
Yeah, that should be 1. So just assume they're all numbered where it's in bold. Or else it'll throw it off later on. Glenn, when he was going through the surplusing process with Public Works, he did a property value analysis. What we have to do when a city sells property or exchanges it, you have to get fair market value under the state code. And so he valued this property, came in at, and this is the Public Works property, at $875,000. However, we're contributing to building the road into our park. And we're also going to be keeping the Public Works there for potentially a year or 2 or 3. And so it's there for 2 years, and the purchase and lease back under 3. No, number 2. So you got a 24-month term for leasing it back to us. And so we got to contribute some of this money back to the road and then lease payments to the developer. And then we have the option to extend it at no additional cost for another 12 months. We've got a total potential of 3 years. If Justin can get that built in 18 months or 24 months, he wants to be gone and move. And so we might move out early, would be the idea. But the rent and the road costs are $225,000. So our actual purchase price is $650,000. Okay. That's the big numbers that I want you to be on the same page with. The purpose of the agreement, we just talk about, is to align that road and access to our future park and development. The term of the lease is set up in paragraph 2. That's in paragraph 2. And then it's just basically, then we go to page 2. We're responsible to pay all the utilities still. We just have to do pay all of what we're already paying for utilities. And we got to keep the property in good repair, so Justin just can't let it go downhill because he's leasing it now. They understand that they're buying it as is. And then they are going to dedicate all or part of it back to the city as part of their development in paragraph 3. They can go in because they're going to need to start doing surveys to get that road built and different things and do their planning. So they can go in and bother Justin during reasonable hours to do their surveys and get their improvements and stuff done. And then everything else from that point on is boilerplate. Okay. Any questions about the terms of the agreement?
So when does it start?
Tonight after you approve it.
So we have 36 months
From tonight.
to be off the property.
It's 2020.
And they take it, who takes down the buildings and all that? That us or is that the developer?
We said in the agreement, the only thing that it covers is if we want to sell, the idea is it's the developer would take it down, but we can salvage some of the building parts if we want. Then do I need to make that more specific if you didn't get that out of that?
It probably would not hurt
Okay,
to make
Mr.
sure that we'll-
Smith, can we say that you do the demolition?
That was the intent, so.
Okay,
We recognize, yeah, we're putting that road in, so.
I'll put that in. Where did we put the salvage stuff, Jenny? Type the word salvage and search. Find. Can you move that? So I can see the whole. Yeah. So Justin, you get to salvage anything you want out of the buildings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly the generator that's outside.
Yes.
No, it's not. No, I don't think it is. It's not. So now in that
Is it process, I said, or is it property?
on premises.
Process. It's in paragraph 8 there. And so right after the salvage paragraph, I put in paragraph, the developer's responsible, the developer's expense for the demolition, for any demolition on premises after the structures are vacated.
And we're,
In line 23, you also have salvage.
Yes, I put it in 2 places.
Thank you.
all right, is that acceptable to you, Mr. Smith? Yeah, all right, any other questions?
Now that's real time editing. Okay, so we won't sign these tonight. Jenny will print this off. And then we'll sign it after the meeting or tomorrow. Okay.
Any more discussion? If not, motion, please.
If I were to ask a question, Justin, are you capable of rebuilding your public works building in 3 years? I thought that might be a question you would ask.
It's not a question. We will have it done. Or we will be homeless.
That's 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing like a motivation when you've got something like that. You can't- Yeah.
Give him a bunch of those big metal pod trailers.
Mhm.
So build it or get
We'll
that.
figure it out. Don't know what we'd haul, what we'd store salt. We'll figure it out.
I'd make a motion that we adopt resolution 20-02, resolution to adopt a purchase lease and dedicated agreement with the amended changes.
Okay, 22-02.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
22-02.
Okay, a motion, second, please.
Second.
Motion and a second. This is roll call also. Councilmember Loveland,
Yes.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss,
Yes.
Councilmember Williamson.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes. Okay. That's a lot. Thank you. That was a lot of work lead up to that. That was 2 resolution passes. There you go. All right, item D, this is discussion possible action to grant preliminary approval for the Copperwood subdivision, which is a 65-unit mixed-use development located approximately 1956 North Highway 89. Justin, would you like to address this?
So this has already been to preliminary for the planning commission. We're coming to council for preliminary. We're very excited about this mixed use opportunity to bring more commercial and residential aspects to the city, and kind of beautify this little plot of vacant land that's right on the Highway 89. The developers of the Copperwoods have been more than great to work with, and we just hope for a continued relationship of success and building a really nice community.
How well is this aesthetically gonna blend with the big properties to the south on the golf course?
Very well. They have rendered some really nice concepts to us that will aesthetically match with the Ben Lomond and with what we're proposing for the opposite side of 89 on the Ben Lomond and city property that we're gonna kind of all try to intermingle with the
Look at this.
country-esque look.
So you talked to the developers a bit of that on the property.
Yes, I'm in constant contact with them. So we're slowly moving forward. I had a great meeting with their engineer last week, but that's for another topic, so.
Haven't we seen these renderings? We've got them
Yes.
available, don't we?
Yeah, we have,
About development agreements.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
we
see
have,
them?
we
Yeah.
have an NDA.
Okay.
This development as far as the mixed use.
I have one question. That's gonna add a lot of traffic. What do we do about 2,000? Because in the morning and in the afternoon, that place is insane.
We have addressed that. Do you want to take that?
We've addressed that. We're looking into the things we can do. I know with Ben Lomond, we're getting a light on the highway. There's gonna be more access then to maneuver people back through Ben Lomond and hopefully soften 2000 a little.
But there's also no left turn
Yeah.
going in off the
Off
highway
the
into
highway
that.
into the
Everything's right turn.
Copperwood.
So we're gonna go no left turn on
Yes.
2,000.
Yes.
Correct, there's some material.
Is there anything else you guys want to add to that?
I think we're okay. I just need to address the road there. I think you guys did a great job. So.
Any other questions? The developers are here too, if you need to ask. Any questions for them?
You know what's going in the building on 750?
So
What's going in that professional building?
What's all commercial use? Oh, we don't know quite yet.
Okay,
Once we start getting this in place, we start advertising for that, and we get a lot better idea. But it will be commercial, strictly commercial use of US Highland Code.
Any other questions? Okay, this is a preliminary approval, so if there's no more to discuss, I'd like a motion, please.
make a motion to approve 750. Oh, excuse me. Not that one yet. Approve the Copperwood subdivision, 65 or 66 unit.
65.
It is 65. Mixed use development located approximately 1956 North Highway 89.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. This is just a regular motion, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. There you go. I'm really excited about this. You guys have been working hard on it really fast. I appreciate this. Okay. Item E is a discussion possible action to approve 750 West Public Works Building Concept Plan. So we've set some things in motion and now we have to just right on the wall. Go ahead, Justin.
as you guys were well aware, after tonight, we're moving forward with concept and design of we want to call it the municipal center per se of our 750 West property. It will be mixed with the city offices and public works. If you look at the at the bottom is 750 West, and then that will be the public works site. And then coming off of 89, and where that new light is going to go, the frontage there in that piece will be actually commercial to the Ben Lomond development. And behind that will be then our city offices. New police station, new rec / community center is the 14, the 11 will be the city offices, and the 12 will be the police station. We're trying to set it up where the 14 and the 11 will have a divider wall that can make it so that when we have big city council meetings, we can open up into the rec center and have an overflow. We're not needing to then use outside sources throughout the city. But the first concept and the first leg of this will definitely be the public works building. And with that, we're doing the infrastructure for the entirety of the project. Through the ARPA funds we've talked about in months past, through the selling of the public works building, through some impact fees, and the sale of this other property off 700 are ways that we're going to pay for this public works facility. And then after that, and do all the infrastructure for the entirety. So then we, at a later point in time, we just come up with the monies for the development of the buildings alone for the community center, city offices.
Have you talked to Brian?
We've talked, he really is enjoyable at the park. He says that it's easy access and keeps, you know, everything there and cleaned up. And
Has he seen this one though?
yes,
Any questions from Justin on this?
I can't read the numbers. Don't touch the screen.
Right.
Screw it up on my left.
so this is,
Tell me where things are.
so this is the public works, this is 750, right?
Okay,
So we're making it come in dual access off 750 and then a
Okay.
single off of 89.
all right,
Okay, so this will be the main public works building.
okay,
These are just storage sheds, and then number 8 will be our salt,
okay.
sand, and gravel storage. The 10, it's not marked out here because we kind of adjusted it. So we're actually gonna do a decant basin for just a smaller one for our sweeper and so forth. This will be just a regular detention basin. 16 will be our privatized irrigation pond to pressurize irrigation the entirety of the property.
Okay.
Then it comes over to the municipal building. This is the rec center. 11 will be the city offices with the entrance right there. And then 12 will be the police with, it's not drawn out in here, but we will have a back access or whatever. We've talked about putting gates here and leaving that for police and staff parking only. That way, if the staff member's coming out at night alone or anything, or the police, they're in a secured area. And then plenty of recreational things. We've got our basketball courts, our pickleball, our playground. And we're talking about a little trail system throughout, so people can access even walking around the pond.
Thank you.
That rec center basketball court also.
The inside, yes.
So if we approve this conceptually, is there enough wiggle room down the road, say our fire district would want to be part of it if they ponied up for some land? Are we locking ourselves in?
No, we've discussed this and we've kind of discussed this in concept with the smoot, that somewhere in this general vicinity, would then have enough access and grant access for the fire district to then.
We've also
possibly-
talked about it going towards the highway.
Yes.
And attaching it onto that side.
And attaching onto the highway, depending on what UDOT would allow.
Mhm.
I mean, we can't say that they can for sure, or can't go off the highway. But we would allow, we would make enough road movement, but they would have to either purchase something from the Ben Lomond or purchase a tract from us in this area that we could then.
And you that's good with coming in 89.
Yes, we've already, that's all been approved. There will be a full, in their concept, originally at Hunting Circle, or Hunting Creek, they had a proposed stoplight, but it just wasn't gonna work. It's too close to the West Harrisville light. So they like this a lot better, and it will be a full stoplight
Okay.
with the development of the Ben Lomond project and our project.
Can we make the developers cough up the money for when the light hears the sirens to automatically switch?
That's on a UDOT.
Yeah,
That's gonna be with them and.
it's
and
about
what they-
$5,000.
Yeah, with what them and UDOT decide on how that works out. I would like it so that if we do have a call out, that it's easy to get out,
Right,
but we'll have to negotiate that through UDOT and the developer, not necessarily us.
yeah, we checked it out because of this
Yeah.
one here
Yeah.
slowed us down a little on a few calls to Walmart and whatnot. And if possible, the
Yeah.
developers could cough up that extra $5-6
Yeah,
grand.
we
for
can
that.
definitely look into that as a condition when through their engineering and what UDOT specs out for their light.
So really what we're looking at is just developing the public works area right now. The concept plan could be moved around until we find it. I mean,
Yes.
we've got to make sure the infrastructure.
Well,
we've got to
we're
worry
just,
about that, but
we're
just-
bringing it to a concept of this is kind of how we see it. I've already reached out to Jones and Associates. We're putting together an RFP to get an architect on board to get the building concept down to really good and matching with the concepts of the development that's going around it. We don't want this public works to be the sore thumb of the complex and what's taking place around it. And then at that point, we also started on through Jones and Associates with the engineering of the site plan. So all the utilities and infrastructure that will have to take place. And we're trying to do that so that we can have it out sometime this summer to be completed by next year, to then have a year to build the actual facility, the building. And then go in within 3 years, be into the public works and out of the old building.
So this will have to go to planning commission. All right, they're the approving body for you, even though you're the city council. Planning commission will approve the site plan and the architectural renderings according to our code. So Justin's, when he's saying that, he's saying I'm trying to get everything in line to get the planning commission approval to go ahead and start the groundwork on the site and the structure. You need to tell us that this is the right site plan, this is the right design that you want us to present to this planning commission. Planning commission may make changes and adjust it to meet the code if they find out that there's some inadequacies as we go through the planning commission process, because we're going to be treating us like you're the developer, presenting it through Justin to the planning commission. Then once it's approved, then we'll let you know, and then it's kind of locked in. But as we're formulating this, is this that you like? Do you like the design? Do you like the layout? Is this something that you would want as our municipal center? we're at that point. It has gone through many renditions from when Gene originally designed it, and it included more park elements back then, because we didn't have access to this 11 acres over on Washington Boulevard that we're going to be using for what would have been the park elements here. We actually have more space over there for the bigger park facilities than we would have here. So this is now more dedicated to the public works, police, administration, and a potential future fire department or fire district office station, or what we would call it. Okay. What do you think?
I'm wondering if is there enough parking? I mean, that's a lot of pickleball courts. A lot of, the basketball, and if there's sounds like a gym, is putting in, a rec center. Is there enough parking? I don't know if that's to scale or not, but.
It's not to perfect scale.
Okay.
We've allowed, a lot of parking here, and it doesn't show out right here, but there will be parking along frontage for anybody coming into public works.
Okay.
So, and we're actually gonna try to fence off public works.
Other things too, Justin, you might consider is if you could look at maybe angled parking on these roads.
Yeah.
Here and maybe here. That one angled parking will slow down the traffic.
Yeah.
That's going through here, so they're not speeding in and out as badly. And then, probably just here.
Yeah.
And here.
And we don't have the firmed up engineering numbers for the actual road widths. So we can make those adjustments to the more of the engineering phase than just actual, what we're trying to get is does this feel like it will flow and work the best as our city grows? We're giving ourselves at Public Works a little bit of room for growth and things for future. There's places we can add more storage and kind of grow out if we need to.
We don't want to
just kind
outgrow
of-
ourselves before we.
Yes, I've seen that a perfect example with a neighboring city that they built a brand new facility for public works, and it's beautiful, but they've already had to add on twice, 2 new buildings, and their offices aren't adequate enough for all their staff. We don't want that, but we have a great concept for the inside of the building on 2 floors. For the top mezzanine floor, for now, will just kind of be more open space, but allow for growth in the future to put more offices, so on and so forth. And that will come more when we get to the site, to the actual render drawings of what we have. We're just kind of trying to think of how it best flows with the development out on Washington, out on 89, the city offices and the public works all coinciding in the same parcel of land.
So Mayor and Justin and Council, I would imagine that you'd act on the concept tonight, then Justin has a clear view of the concept, send it off to the engineer, get it engineered, fix those things like parking. There's a few other things like the sound report for the police and the other things that we need to show a little better, and then bring back the final site plan for you to say, okay, we're good on this, send this to the planning commission. But, so this is a concept, right? And then we can get into finer details as we get to the site plan. That's where if you have issues, Grover or Steve, or, send those in to Justin to have him address those. Blair, Max. Okay, so
Even, ahead of time.
Max,
That needs to be really a wish list on.
why don't you have Justin have the engineer give you a big. If you want one of those, paper big one. Okay. You good?
I don't.
Okay. Just another thing.
Again, this is what we like, and they'll bring it back with it.
Yeah, it's good.
And then we can I can't go after it then if we don't like.
So with, vision, they come in the entrance here to public. And you have your foyer here and a council room over here somewhere that overflows into the basketball court, kind of like the state center. So when we have a big meeting, we're not having to bother like anymore. We can host it and open a divider and overflow. Okay. So those were some of the things that we were looking at. But this is a big day.
Justin, how much bigger is this building gonna be than where you are now?
Currently, we have 3 single bays
Right,
in our public works building. This is 5 complete pull-through bays with doors on each side,
okay,
so probably double the size.
okay,
We've done that for purposes of in the future when we can buy a sewer cleaner truck and a camera trailers. That we have storage for that inside. We can then store our sweeper inside at all times. We can store the necessary equipment we have inside at all times. With the outbuildings being big enough that we can pull snowplow trucks. Right now, a quarter or more of our snowplow trucks stick out of the buildings when we have the snowplows on them. We want to go away from that. The salt bay at the current public works building is not very big. This salt bay that we're designing is actually a 3-tiered system. Has 3 walls in it, so we can hold sand in one, road base in another, and then salt in one. And they'll be about triple the size of what we currently have to hold. It's just, it's taking into account not only what we currently have, but possible build out. Because the last thing we want is to then all of a sudden, it does have a full wash bay inside of that, this new plan of how we want to hold and have enough storage and enough room to use it properly.
sounds like you thought it out, as,
Yes.
'cause I know you're cramped now, Glenn's out in the
Yes.
shop with his desk and,
Yeah, and the nice thing is we've worked it out that the frontage will be the offices and everybody will have their own office with a small break room, lunchroom, break room type, trading room with the upstairs mezzanine, being open, closed off from the shop, but open to then expand in the future and just be a lot better than what we have currently. And we're all crammed in one little office together. And like you said, Glenn's out in the shop at his desk because we just don't have the space. And we envision that with all this new development, we're going to have to hire more guys in public works. We're kind of getting by with as minimal crew as possible for now. But when we really have to look at this as we're going from a small city to a mid-sized city with all the development that's going to happen. And we need the manpower and the room to then make this city work the way it should work.
We're gonna have any lifts?
Yes.
It's not nothing
We're going away from the lifts. So we'll have a full drive-on lift. And then we've talked with the lift company, and the next best lift we've looked at, they're actually portable, that plug in, and then we can move them to any bay we want. We're looking into a big overhead crane system in at least one of the bays, that if we need to lift anything really heavy, it can be supported and lift that. Just a lot of new and better technology out there that we don't have the room for at the current building. And as we know, we hopefully have that problem solved with the sale of that to max. So we've got a lot. And like I said, as soon as we're more finite on the architectural side of the actual building, then we'll bring it back and go over little details and by all means, I'm here every day, all day at you guys' disposal. If you have questions, concerns, call me, come over, talk to me. We'll hash it out and make it so it's the best for the city, for the future, not just whatever's there now.
Any more?
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. We have a motion on this, if there's no more discussion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 750 West Public Works Building Concept Plan.
Second.
A motion on a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Justin, take it away, okay? I'm there. All right, moving on. We got through all our business items. We're moving on to public comments. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience. If you have something to say, you come to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
John Macedoni. So if we can relook at the illegal trucking company on 750, it's actually increased double since the last time we talked 2 months ago. So that's all.
All right, thanks, John. Anybody else?
My name is Glenn Burrow. I live across the street from this plan that you've got for the city. I didn't notice on the plan, maybe you're not up to date, of where the access and from 750 is going to be on this plan. Was it on there?
Yes.
And how many streets is going into that?
Excuse me.
There's two streets going into it.
So there will be a street back here at both property lines. I'm trying to remember the names of the homeowners, but they'll be right there.
On both sides, there'll be a road on next to the residential
Yes.
park and in the middle.
That one on the end is right across from Johnson, the old Johnson greenhouse.
Yes.
That's
Well,
where
it's-
that bottom one
It's
is.
down on the end by the canal.
Yes.
It's on Voss's ground, next to Voss's
And then the top ones.
and north one.
That one's almost across the street from you.
The only question I have is a couple of things that the plan that's been presented. I don't know that any of the residents are knowledgeable about any of this. Because I had heard about it a couple of weeks ago. From a couple of residents that was talking to somebody that knew what was going on. And they're a little concerned with what's going on, that they have no voice in what the city is gonna plan on there. The only question I have on the plan is why is the public service building gonna be on the frontage and all the rest of it gonna be clear in the back? Is there a reason for that? And why does the public buildings and that it's gonna have all the equipment in and out every day, not move to the back and have the good looking buildings that you're gonna propose? Now, I don't know if it's a fire, is there a fire station in this thing?
There is not.
Not yet.
It's not yet. Is there a
Wear two
proposal?
hats. I'm on the fire board and there's talks going on about adding a Harrisville station, and it would make sense if we teamed up with public safety.
So that everything's gonna be over there and not anywhere else in the city, is that right?
Right.
Okay. The other proposal, there's not gonna be any access to the highway, is that right?
No. The access to the highway will be right there. There will be development through Ben Lomond right here.
Mr. Barrow, you've got him out there, Justin's available afterwards, you've gone over your 3 minutes, and if there's probably plenty of times that we can help you, but if you have any more questions, you can address that, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Deanna Aguilar, and I just have a comment, with all this going on. Are you still gonna keep this pond in this park? That's right here, that's not going away? Okay. That's good.
I'm glad you like it.
Let's put some more fish in that pond.
We actually have no control over the fish that go in that pond, that's,
Oh, really?
yeah, no, that's just, when it happens, it happens.
Well, we appreciate all the events you guys do.
Great. Any more public comments? All right, if not, we'll close that and go on to mayor council follow-up. We'll start with you, Grover, anything?
I don't,
Okay, Steve,
Yeah, I got a couple.
okay, go ahead.
Number one, we need to do something about this because Grover and I sit in the corner and we don't know,
can't see anything.
anything.
Okay,
So we have to buy another one, put it on that side too, and we can all,
okay.
I don't know what we can do, but
Is there any way to make it show up here so we can turn this one that way and have that to the audience?
They're not attached, so I'd have to do control of both of them. And that, this monitor is attached to the minutes, so it always was difficult for me to switch back and forth. But we can try and put another one here, we can try and put one in front of you and attach it to that.
just something that so we can see it because, you know,
We might look into a wall mount. And a swivel, and that way they were not stuck with just.
Banging the walls?
What's banging the walls. So I will look into that and find out pricing.
which is just the fact that we couldn't see. anything
Right.
that you're talking about. So that is.
We're taking everything we say, Justin, is true.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. And then the other thing is doesn't have to be talked about now, but somebody needs the Ben Lomond project because nothing that I see is going on and I'm not very pleased at this point. They're slowly sliding down a slippery slope to get, if they bring anything here, because I'm not. So you want to pass it on to them?
Would you, I can address that. So it's a sticky, it's a tough situation because we look at it in two parts. And part number one being we got the master's development agreement, which makes them bound to what we had. But what we didn't do in that was any of the engineering.
That's up to them.
That is up to them, but it still needs to be approved through us as the city that it will work. So they have to now go and do all the engineering on the back end. So they are working on it. They promised me within the month, we will start to see buildings being torn down. Rocky Mountain Power has given them a little bit of taking a little extra time to get some disconnects done. I don't know if you saw out there last week, Questar was out there disconnecting the gas from the buildings. We're just in that funny phase of until the engineering is totally done and approved. It doesn't look like there's a lot of movement going forward because it's all behind the scenes. But we will, I'm almost certain within the next 6 months should see some ground movement and utilities starting to go.
Right, and the other thing though, that we promised the people, was that we were gonna show them the concept and completely have this
Right.
big showing, and again, they haven't done it.
And I will reach out. I have a meeting set up with Mr. Palermo tomorrow. I will really reach back out to him and make sure that he tried to put that on city staff to set that up, but that's not our responsibility. So we'll reassess that and reiterate that he needs to bring that concept and have that full meeting and be here present and available for you guys to talk to also. So I will move that information along, because I will discuss with him tomorrow some things. But there are some things going on. I know he's done some parts of the park aspect, but we had to put a halt on some just because, again, we don't have the engineering drawings that says, yes, this will work fully. So they're bound by the MDA. They are moving forward on small things. But yeah, and I will make sure that we have that meeting and get things pushed forward.
What's funny is he swore that he was gonna get the engineering done, and they had they had a whole team of engineers ready to go, and
And they
blah,
do.
blah, blah.
They do. It was just the timing of it all going through the MDA and then getting it finalized. So we had to have the MDA finalized to finalize the purchase of the ground. And he wasn't gonna soak money into the engineering until the ground purchase was finalized.
So he did
And now that that's all done, we have, Matt Robinson and I have had about 3 Zoom meetings with his engineers. There's just a lot of little intricacies that are tough about that property, and one being some groundwater, and they know it, and they're addressing it. But I will speak with Doug and make sure that he knows that we need to have that meeting and get out to the public of what we really feel.
Yeah, just tell them there are people that are starting to ask questions and they're not thinking, is that ever gonna happen? And that's what I hear every time I talk to somebody. Is it's not gonna happen. They're just blowing smoke, and that I won't put up with them.
No,
And you can flat out tell him, if he doesn't want to do it and he isn't gonna move, then he's gonna have some tough times.
Okay.
Because he swore to us. We sat in meeting after meeting and he swore to us that this is gonna happen at lightning speed. Well, he hasn't even cranked the generator up on the lightning yet, so. So anyway, I appreciate it. You
Totally
pass it
understand.
along.
I will do that.
Okay, thank you. That's all. I'm sorry.
Thanks. Okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay, no, so-
I just echo what Steve says. That's the most oft question that's asked me. What's going on out there? And it doesn't make us feel good, like we're in the dark and don't know, because we're supposed to be the ones in the know, and they're the ones that did all the promising, and they're the ones that are being dilatory, and they need to step up.
Okay. Thank you.
Ditto.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, you guys have spent a lot of time on that committee, and I.
Yes, we did.
Okay, just a couple of things. Thank you to Justin and your crew for all the snow plowing you've done over the holidays and the last little bit. Doesn't look like there's a bit of snow out there, but we appreciate it. I kept waking up and thinking, oh, I think they're out there. I can hear my guys out there, so thank you very much. Just one more thing. We got a nice thank you card from the young woman that came in here that talked about a day in May for the educators. She sent a nice note, and in it, she just wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity, but there was a couple of things. She is grateful to have the opportunity because now she's going into law school where she's finishing this. And then she said, it was just a nice little note. And then at the very end, she said, I passed my lobbying class with 100%. So I was one of the few who was able to get the project completed. So thank you to that. So I thought that was important that she was able to, just like it's helping my dream. So I'm like, oh, we help a little bit that we don't even know. So thank you for that. Is there anything else from staff? If not, oh, sure.
Just want to thank Waste Management for following up on 150 or east. They missed that road on Friday. They came back around on Monday and picked it up.
Okay, so thank you for
Appreciate
following
it.
through.
1-800 number. Oh,
Okay.
never mind. I don't like it. I'm not sure.
All right. We appreciate it. Thanks. Our staff does a great job. We appreciate all of them.
So I appreciate the staff following up on. Thank you very much.
Dennis, you have a comment?
Yeah, in our last operations committee, we found out that Utah Communications Authority is now backtracking on our plans to move forward for encryption, and we don't have any kind of a date now. So they have really taken a big step back, and I don't know what's going on with it. So
Okay,
It's just out the wind again.
well, thanks for following us through on that, and letting us
Gives
know what's
us some
going on.
breathing room, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It always does. They always do it, so.
Well, if there's nothing else, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
Move to second, all in favor?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of chat.